Wave of bankruptcy hits China's catering industry. Meituan stock plunge. JD.com's market value evaporates by $70 billion in 1 year. Local CCP government invests heavily in anti-poverty backsliding monitoring system. Shifting from China to India, Walmart diversifies supply chain and reduces costs. CCP claims overseas rule of law construction. Analysis points to expansion of power abroad. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Wave of bankruptcy hits China's catering industry. The Chinese economy is undergoing a sustained decline, and a looming wave of restaurant closures is becoming evident. Since the start of November, the nationwide restaurant industry has encountered challenges surpassing those of previous years. Recently, Red Meal Network, a professional restaurant website in mainland China, conducted on-site visits to various commercial districts in Guangzhou. Simultaneously, interviews were conducted with restaurant personnel in cities such as Beijing, Chengdu, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. The findings indicate that the current state of the restaurant market can be summed up in one word: chilling. A Guangzhou consumer, Momo, a pseudonym, expressed genuine shock at the swift closure of Jiangnan. This area is a popular spot in Guangzhou with numerous large commercial complexes, always bustling with activity. Momo observed that a snail noodle shop, closed since August, remains vacant with no one taking over. Traveling straight along a 2-kilometer stretch reveals a disheartening sight. Over 10 stores have closed down, spanning various establishments such as braised meat roll shops, fried chicken outlets, Thai cuisine spots, pig offal porridge stores, and barbecue joints. The majority of these shuttered businesses are small, independent stores, with a few being chain stores. Adding to the somber ambience are rows of closed restaurants. Among 4 neighboring dining establishments, only the middle snack shop remains operational, the other 3 have ceased operations. Tiananmen Road in Guangzhou, known as the Tea Street, is currently undergoing a harsh restructuring of its businesses. On the day of the visit by Red Meal Network, 6 tea shops in the area were either in the process of re-renting or actively seeking tenants, and 3 or 4 shops were cordoned off. Reports suggest that the market downturn is not exclusive to Guangzhou. A sense of pessimism prevails in restaurant markets across Shenzhen, Beijing, Chengdu, Guizhou, Changsha, and other locations. Data from Kachacha reveals that from January to October this year, the cumulative nationwide increase in registered restaurants was 3.501 million, a surge of 374,000 compared to the same period last year. Concurrently, the cumulative revocation of restaurant registrations nationwide reached 1.056 million, compared to 538,000 in the same period last year. Many professionals in the restaurant industry believe that this year's business is even more challenging than in previous years. On one hand, there's a decline in consumption leading to reduced foot traffic. On the other hand, the industry has witnessed an influx of numerous entrepreneurs, intensifying competitive pressures. The grim situation outlined in the report has sparked public concern. One netizen bluntly stated, "With a decrease in the number of permanent residents from outside, naturally, there are fewer people spending money. Just observe the current situation in supermarkets, and it becomes evident." Another sarcastically remarked, 8 out of 10 restaurants downstairs in our building have closed. It's not that everyone doesn't want to continue, but the market is unfavorable. Coupled with effective regulation from relevant departments, the enforcement is stringent. For instance, a bun shop can be fined over 10,000 for selling a bowl of tofu pudding. Can the bun shop avoid closing down? How many people in this industry are simply unemployed? I see the employment rate painted in a perfect light, but around me, more and more neighbors are taking breaks at home. If things continue like this, stability and harmony will face numerous uncertainties. One predicted that in this scenario, many within the restaurant industry anticipate a significant wave of closures by the end of December this year. Meituan stock plunge. JD.com's market value evaporates by $70 billion in 1 year. Amid the widespread closures of restaurants in China, Meituan, the country's prominent food delivery service, is grappling with a downturn. This was evidenced by a significant drop in its stock price listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange on Wednesday, November 29, a day following the release of Meituan's third-quarter financial report. By the close of the day, Meituan's stock had tumbled by 12.18%, reaching a new low not seen since April 2020. Prior to the financial report release on November 28, Meituan's shares in Hong Kong had already experienced a decline of over 5%, resulting in a loss of market capitalization exceeding 100 billion Hong Kong dollars within just 2 days, approximately $12.8 billion. Analyzing the trajectory of Meituan's stock price reveals a consistent downward trend throughout the year. Morgan Stanley released a report expressing a gradually cautious stance on Meituan. This caution is primarily due to the slower-than-expected recovery of consumer sentiment, introducing uncertainty regarding the revival of Meituan's core local business revenue. Similarly, institutions have adjusted their target prices downward, anticipating a slowdown in Meituan's growth in restaurant orders and instant orders in the fourth quarter. Moreover, investors harbor concerns about the ongoing costs incurred by Meituan for promoting businesses such as live streaming and short videos. JD.com's market value evaporates by $70 billion in 1 year. On the 28th, Huxiyu.com, a prominent Chinese online media platform, reported a staggering $70 billion decrease in JD.com's market value over the past year. The company's Hong Kong-listed shares witnessed a sharp decline from over 200 at the year's start to slightly over 100, while its U.S. stocks plummeted from 60 to 20. Consequently, JD.com's total market value nosedived from over $100 billion to slightly over $30 billion. As one of China's major e-commerce players, JD.com's recent significant downturn caught the attention of mainland netizens on the 29th, briefly trending on Baidu's hot search list. Netizens expressed their discontent, citing instances such as purchasing Qiyu VR glasses from JD.com's self-operated store without receiving the promised rebate for a check-in activity. They alleged collusion between the platform and Qiyu to extract money from consumers, portraying JD.com's self-operation as a source of frustration. Another netizen disclosed that JD's original strategy of deviating from the main battlefield and focusing on low prices is no longer advantageous. The platform appears unable to penetrate the sinking market, leading to an awkward situation. Back on the 24th of the previous month, the 2023 Hengchang Xiaofang Huruan Rich List revealed that the couple Lu Qiangdong, founders of JD.com, experienced the most significant wealth decline, with both their fortunes diminishing by around 50 billion. In recent years, Lu Qiangdong has faced a series of scandals. Aside from the incident involving the alleged sexual assault of a female college student in Minnesota, USA, last month's news of a businessman surnamed Lu being arrested on suspicion of illegal activities generated online attention. This news contributed to a 12.06% drop in JD.com's Hong Kong stock price to 103.5 Hong Kong dollars. During this period, a JD.com spokesperson issued a denial statement, but netizens expressed skepticism and disbelief. Local CCP government invests heavily in anti-poverty backsliding monitoring system. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, claimed as early as 2020 that the entire nation had achieved poverty-free status and entered a moderately prosperous society. However, this assertion faced considerable skepticism. Recently, several provinces, including Shaanxi, have invested significant funds, nearly 9 million yuan, in acquiring a monitoring system to prevent a return to poverty. In the latest announcement on the Shaanxi government procurement website regarding the results of Shaanxi Province Anti-Poverty Monitoring Information Project, the project was awarded to 2 companies, with winning bids of 8.59 million yuan, approximately $1.2 million, and 183,500 yuan, roughly $34,529, respectively. The information has sparked online ridicule. Some netizens commented, criticizing the clever tactics used to convert national funds into personal assets. They called for an investigation into the winning company's background, expressing doubts about the absence of corruption. The situation was deemed unsightly and predicted to incite public anger, leading to a chaotic outcome. On November 28, a staff member from the Comprehensive Department of the Rural Revitalization Bureau of Shaanxi Province provided Mr. Wang's contact number, the person in charge of the mentioned monitoring project. However, Mr. Wang declined to be interviewed. Public reports indicate that China has made substantial investments in projects aimed at preventing a return to poverty. For example, in Jiangxi Province, the winning bid amounted to 1.56 million yuan, roughly $220,375. In Hunan, the successful bid was 840,000 yuan, roughly $118,663. And in Shaanxi Province, the winning bid reached up to 1.79 million yuan, roughly $252,866. Mr. Akio Yaida, head of the Taiwan Bureau for Japan's Nikkei Shimbun, believes that China is entering an era of comprehensive return to poverty. The pandemic has nearly depleted the savings of society and most households. In the future, those falling back into poverty will also encounter challenges such as foreign capital withdrawal, reduced exports, and sluggish personal consumption. Even the wealthy and the middle class have faced severe distress in recent years. CCP's poverty alleviation claims under intense scrutiny. As early as the end of November 2020, the CCP authorities made a loud proclamation that all counties designated as impoverished had achieved poverty alleviation, asserting that the year marked the full realization of a moderately prosperous society. Just 2 months after the CCP announced the entry into the moderately prosperous society, it came to light that a video website creator named Mocha in Liangshan Prefecture, Sichuan Province, had died due to a combination of poverty and illness. Mocha used to regularly share daily life updates on Bilibili, revealing that he suffered from severe stomach issues due to irregular eating patterns and hunger. He mentioned that going without meals became a norm in his life and lamented never having eaten dumplings on the winter solstice. However, official media debunked this, stating that Mocha's family was not classified as impoverished. In June 2022, a video of a wedding feast of Yangyi people in Meigu County, Daliang Mountain, Sichuan Province, filmed by mainland anchor Chen Jian, was uploaded to Douyin and Kuaishou. The video documented the extreme poverty in the area, exposing the falsehoods of the CCP's propaganda about comprehensive poverty alleviation. Because the video contradicted the government's triumphant poverty alleviation narrative, impacting the local image of poverty alleviation and pandemic control, Chen Jian was summoned by local public security. Mr. Li Kongyu, a professor at the School of Management of Sun Yat-sen University in Guangzhou, warned that 940 million people in China have a monthly income below 2,000 Chinese yuan, roughly $282.50. The poorest 20% in China, about 280 million people, have an average disposable monthly income of 600 Chinese yuan per person, roughly $84.76. Shifting from China to India, Walmart diversifies supply chain and reduces costs. Retail behemoth Walmart, the world's largest, is diversifying its supply chain and reducing dependence on Chinese manufacturers by increasing imports from India. According to Import Yeti data covering January to August this year, a quarter of Walmart's imports into the United States came from India, a significant increase from the 2% reported in 2018. Concurrently, the volume from China during this period decreased to 60% from the previous 80% in 2018. This strategic shift is a response to the mounting costs of importing from China and the escalating political tensions between the US and China. These factors have prompted major US companies to explore alternative sources in countries such as India, Thailand, and Vietnam. Ms. Andrea Albright, Walmart's executive vice president overseeing procurement, emphasized the company's pursuit of the most favorable prices. She underscored the need for readiness in the face of geopolitical events, drawing a parallel with preparing for hurricanes. Chris Rogers, a research analyst at Panjiva, a supply chain analysis group under Standard & Poor's, highlighted the continuous rise in labor costs in China and the declining competitiveness of mainland China. The vulnerabilities exposed in global supply chains during the COVID-19 pandemic underscored the excessive reliance of U.S. importers on a limited number of markets, including mainland China. Walmart's accelerated expansion in India began in 2018 with the acquisition of a 77% stake in the Indian e-commerce company Flipkart. In 2020, the company committed to importing $10 billion worth of goods annually from India by 2027. Albright affirms that this ambitious goal remains attainable, with the current annual imports from India amounting to approximately $3 billion. Walmart CEO Doug McMillan's meeting with Indian Prime Minister Modi in May was deemed fruitful, with Modi expressing satisfaction at India's emerging status as an attractive investment destination. The Reserve Bank of India predicts a 6.5% growth in the country's economy this fiscal year. In contrast, the Chinese Communist Party claims an anticipated 5% growth, but external sources consistently question the credibility of CCP data. Recent speculations circulating in mainland China about Walmart's potential withdrawal and the relocation of its procurement center to Vietnam have ignited discussions on Chinese social media platforms. CCP claims overseas rule of law construction, analysis points to expansion of power abroad. On November 28, major official Chinese media outlets reported that the CCP Central Political Bureau convened its 10th collective study session on strengthening foreign-related rule of law on the afternoon of the 27th. The session was led by Huang Huikang, a specially appointed professor at Wuhan University. Following this, Xi Jinping instructed the cultivation of world-class international arbitration institutions and law firms to establish a robust legal security chain for protecting overseas interests and to actively participate in the formulation of international rules. Xi Jinping also claimed that enhancing the foreign-related rule of law is an urgent necessity to advance high-level international openness and to face external risks and challenges. State broadcaster CCTV, under the theme of actively participating in the formulation of international rules, claim that this move is a step towards building a community of shared future for mankind and telling the story of China's rule of law in the new era. Merely a show. Addressing this issue, Lai Jianping, a former Beijing lawyer and a master of international law from China University of Political Science and Law, told NTD Television that the CCP's so-called foreign-related rule of law is merely a show. It's partly aimed at deceiving the international community by creating a false impression of openness. Lai said that the CCP is currently in a crisis of governance, particularly in politics, diplomacy, and the economy, notably due to the withdrawal of foreign investments and economic decline. The CCP uses deceptive tactics to confuse the West and create an illusion of rule of law in China. Lai stated, due to the CCP's contradictory actions, saying one thing and doing another, foreigners fear doing business in China, potentially facing oppression under laws like the Espionage Act, Data Act, and National Security Law. Therefore, the CCP plays up the improvement of foreign-related rule of law as a banner to appear compliant with international rules and to attract foreign investment by creating a facade of reform and openness. However, Lai believes these efforts are in vain as the CCP has already lost its credibility. Lai also indicated that Chinese laws are tailored to serve political purposes, and there's no real rule of law in China, whether domestically or internationally. Instead, there's only a legal system. In English, rule of law implies the supremacy of law, where every party, including political parties, institutions, and individuals, is subordinate to the law, and state power is constrained by law. However, rule by law, as practiced by the CCP, involves using its own laws to control society without constraints on its power. Lai added, in fact, the CCP is doing the opposite in terms of control, both domestically and internationally, tightening and strictly controlling. Expanding power overseas. Lai indicated that the CCP's approach, mimicking Western practices like America's extraterritorial jurisdiction, aims to maintain its autocratic interests. The CCP has established small groups such as Belt and Road, BRICS countries, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to attract certain nations. The CCP aims to emulate the West by applying its own laws to economic, domestic, and diplomatic affairs, extending its influence to these countries through the so-called extraterritorial jurisdiction, with the ultimate goal of infiltrating these nations. The the CCP's laws are extending overseas, including the new National Security Law and the Patriotic Education Law, targeting Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, overseas Chinese, and foreign citizens and businesses. Lai also mentioned that the CCP's enhancement of foreign-related legal talent aims to exploit international law loopholes, which directly ties into their broader strategy. This manipulation of the legal framework is not an isolated endeavor but part of the CCP's overarching push for a foreign-related legal system that primarily serves its authoritarian interests. By doing so, the CCP disregards global values and norms, instead focusing on leveraging legal nuances to its advantage. This approach not only undermines international law principles but also presents significant challenges to the world order, as it prioritizes the CCP's hegemonic ambitions over collective global governance and fair legal practices. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.